Yeah.
I was born in Detroit. I grew up in the Detroit area. Detroit's bankrupt, and I'm concerned about the future of our country. What I hear from business people in my community and other places is that they're concerned about the uncertainty because of the debt and deficit spending. So I guess I just ask you, what would you tell my constituents when I have to deal with this everywhere? They say nowhere else on the planet do they do what they do in Washington. In the state of Florida, we had less revenues. We made the adjustments. But here, we're leaving a bankrupt country to our children if we don't change the way we do business. And it seems like the administration has to lead on this. Congress has got a responsibility. And I will say it's not just Democrats, it's Republicans if you look over 50 years. But if we don't change this, we're going to use it's going to be devastating to our children and grandchildren. So I would like to have you look at the debt, long-term deficit as well. But what would be your comments to my constituents?
Congressman, you know, as I said earlier, as somebody who was the budget director for 3 years when we ran a surplus, we balanced the budgets, we ran a surplus, I took a lot of pride in having accomplished that. It was policies that were enacted between 2001 and 2008 that dug a hole, we didn't have a surplus anymore, and then we had the worst economic crisis since the Great Depression. So now we do have a deficit of $649 billion in 2014, but the numbers as a percentage of GDP really matter. During the same period from 2000...
let me just say, I know what you're saying. You don't think the debt matters? I mean, $17 trillion,
no, but Congressman,
going to $20 trillion, you don't think? That's what,
yeah.
I'm telling you what people are telling me.
So when
they're concerned about the future for Medicare, Social Security, and their children when they see this debt continue to skyrocketing. And I think that's a game that's been played, frankly, in Washington with Republicans and Democrats over the last 50 years. It's that debt that's got everybody concerned.
Yeah, and if you could just answer briefly.
Yeah, we have cut the deficit in half, and we have the deficit in the last year as a percentage of GDP under 2%. GDP will grow from $17 billion to $27 billion over that period. So nominal numbers and percentage of GDP are both important numbers, and the percentage of GDP shows the progress we've made. So I know it's hard to explain because GDP is a complicated concept, but it's a much bigger economy in 10 years.
Come to Sarasota, Florida, and do a town hall with me, and we'll see what we got. Thank you.
All right.